Good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Killeen, and my wife's here somewhere, Roberta. So we get to live in this place, believe it or not, and we're so thrilled to have you all with us, and thank you for spending time with us. So it's just a pleasure to welcome you all. I've got an informal hubbub meter that I sometimes use for these kind of events. We have a lot of events at the house. And the hubbub meter was off the scale just now. Did you notice that? And that has something to do with, I think, just the interesting work and the things that you're all doing in your scholarship and in your classrooms and everything else. So it's just wonderful to kind of experience that vicariously as a sort of a faceless bureaucrat in the university. But thanks for spending time with us, and what a wonderful thing is the press. So I do have a few remarks, and I want to recognize a few special guests who want to join me in really congratulating University Press on 100 years. We have Trustee Jill Smart, who is, come on Jill, come on. A proud, extremely proud, ultra proud alumna. And a member of our board of trustees, so thank you for spending time. And she taught a class today, and she was telling me about it, and it sounded like it was a massive win, and thank you for being with us, Jill. We have Executive Vice President Barb Wilson, who will be speaking after me, and she's right there, and her husband John Lammers, who's somewhere. And we have our CFO, Avijit Ghosh, who's here. Avijit, where are you? He already. Now, when CFOs bail, you have to be a little concerned about that. But he's done a magnificent job. I won't say anything in his absence, but a wonderful job in keeping this amazing university in fiscal sound shape, and that's great to see. We have Dee Dee Williams, who's the secretary of the board of trustees and the university. And Dee Dee, where are you? Okay, but she's got an excuse, unlike the CFO. She's a grandmother for the first time as of like 24 hours. So I think she's going off to her first baby granddaughter. We also are delighted to have Stacey Barton-Hackler with us. Stacey, there you are. Okay. Stacey's an alum too, a very proud alum, but particularly an assistant on the staff of Senator Dick Durbin, and a 2008 Urbana-Champaign graduate. And thanks for everything you're doing. We can all imagine what your life might be like in this new era that we're all in, but we certainly appreciate everything that Senator's doing and you're doing. And thank you for being here. State Senator Chapin Rose was here and left, and I hope you all saw him. He's going to grill me tomorrow at the Senate hearing. So, but he was very friendly, and we had some pictures taken together, but there's nothing that you can use as leverage. So, and of course we have my wife Roberta, who's Roberta Johnson Killeen, and I want to give her a special thanks because she lives here too, and she's co-hosting this effort. Thank you for that. So it's a pleasure to host this here at the President's house. I don't know whose idea it was. It wasn't mine. I can't take any credit, but it was a good idea. Was it Laurie's idea? It probably was. But this house has been around a long while, kind of built in the Depression, and there's stories there that Winter will know all about and has probably written a lot about. But there were several important guests, including Amelia Earhart, who stayed here, and also Eleanor Roosevelt. So think about that. I don't know which rooms they occupied, but I must have been in them. So among the guests. So this is a historical place, and if you think about you know, the early Depression and the University of Illinois and what it must have looked like back then and how it was evolving, this was a statement. This was a statement that we are here. Watch out, Yale, Princeton. You ain't seen nothing yet. The Midwest is going to be, you know, a fully credentialed, serious player in public higher education. And of course, history has evolved in that way. But when the house was built, the U of I Press was already a teenager. So it predates the house, which is a remarkable thought. And so the press's birthday really is, in my mind, in some rarefied air for any kind of enterprise. You know, I used to be at Michigan, and a professor there tried to calculate how many of America's tens of millions of businesses hit the 100-year milestone. Anybody have a guess? How many businesses make it to 100 years? Well, it's less than 1% of total businesses ever make it to 100 years. So congratulations, press. And that could be a generous estimate. In fact, things are tracking probably in the opposite direction. Average age of firms on the S&P 500 is now 20 years. Average age of companies that show up on the so there is something to be said for longevity and for persistence and stick-with-itness and quality and all of those things that we have in abundance here. So 4,500 books. I think that's the number. A lot of them are in this house. You can't go to a room without finding press books of different types. And the press adds 100 books a year, which is a huge workload. So I just want to personally thank everybody involved with the press for that productivity. That's a lot. That's a lot of serious scholarship coming out, including flagship journals for 16 scholarly societies, and that says a lot too. And I talked to Carol and others about how that's grown over the years too. And of course, with all of the move to social media and digital everything, it must be challenging to go through these transitions now. So, richly deserved reputation of a scholarly voice, a principled voice on the most pressing issues of our time, and a leader of topics including history, multicultural studies, gender, racial equity, and of course Abraham Lincoln as well, which is one of the things I'm reading into a lot, because he's got great quotes, and he's got apocryphal quotes too that you can actually get away with using without any but Winston, I hope is not listening to that. But, so thanks again to the staff and supporters of the U of I Press. I know we've got a lot of community members here, and there's a lot of folks giving back in many ways, and the pride that you have in this is shared. So I'm going to pass to Bob now, who's a little closer to the action. Bob Wilson is my partner in crime, if I can say that, but don't quote me tomorrow. Author and editor herself. She has a bachelor's in journalism and a master's and PhD in communication arts. And what I found in a year and a half now, something like that, is it's hard to follow a communications professor, particularly when you're a kind of a nerdy space scientist kind of person. So she's your TED Talk, as you'll see in a minute. But Dean, interim chancellor, been in that hot seat as well, and is the system's first executive vice president. And I can't tell you how much she's doing for and representing in a genuine way the quality of what we do here. So it really makes my life not only simple, but I can go, I don't golf, but if I did, I could do some of that. So I hope you join me in welcoming, and I hope you're having a wonderful time. I know you are, because the hubbub meter was really there at the so join me in welcoming Bob.
Thank you all. Wow, TED Talk, that's a little scary. I don't know if I'm going to be able to live up to that, but truthfully, the president works so hard that I can't imagine him ever golfing anyway. He's constantly working and constantly giving of himself and his time, and Roberta's right there with him. So I'm delighted to be here this afternoon because I have gotten to know the press very well. In fact, the University of Illinois Press reports technically to me, although Sarah Zare is the person who really helps in that regard and works closely with all of the staff to make things happen. But I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to learn a lot about the University of Illinois Press, and I'm just delighted that we're celebrating the 100-year anniversary of this great business, but also gift, art. It's a little bit of everything, and it's really quite remarkable. I wanted to take a moment. I'm supposed to recognize some deans, but I don't think they're here. So are there any deans here? But I will recognize an associate dean of humanities from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Martin Camargo. And Martin knows the press better than anybody. So thank you, Martin, for being here and representing the humanities. Couple things that you may not know about the press, and I'm not going to talk too long because I know you'd rather talk with each other than listen to us up here, but it is a founding member of the Association of University Presses, which the association began in 1937, and our own press is a founding member of that organization. So talk about history. I mean, we've been around for a long time, and we were also really at the founding table of professional organization that thought about university presses. The authors from the press come from 68 countries around the world. So lest you think that we're just publishing things from U of I people, that's just not right, right, Lori? I mean, we do so much work on critiquing and evaluating and reviewing what gets into the press, and it is truly an international phenomenon. But I would like to ask, anybody that's an author in this room that's authored anything in the press, raise your hand for a moment so that we can recognize you, because I think that's really incredible. And you know, to know that you're actually part of a very big international enterprise is all the more impressive, because it's not easy to get accepted into the University of Illinois Press. When I was dean of the College of Liberal Arts, what I learned about the humanities, I learned many things in my role there, and even as department head, because we had humanists in communication, is that the University of Illinois and other university presses are crucial to the humanities in particular, but even to the fine and applied arts in certain fields. And it's the creme de la creme for publishing in most of our disciplines. If you can get your work into a university press, you're almost assured doing well at promotion time. And because everybody knows how hard it is to get published in these incredible presses. The review process is rigorous. The ramp up to actually getting space in one of these treasured books is tremendous. And so hosting a press like that here at the University of Illinois gives us that much more in terms of reputational punch, and I think it's really important to recognize that. It's a world renowned institution, and it also helps scholars from all over to do their work. So a couple of other things you may or may not know. The publisher of the 14th millionth volume was selected by the University of Illinois Library, and it was one of the books from the University of Illinois Press. So, you know, the library has also got an incredible reputation, keeps adding more and more volumes. Its 14th millionth volume is the University of Illinois Press, and it happens to be our very own University of Illinois Engine of Innovation book that came out as part of the successful Centennial. So that is another kind of fun fact to be aware of. But the University of Illinois Press is doing all kinds of things, including a coloring book. So I don't know how many of you have seen the coloring book for the successful Centennial, but if you haven't, you might want to pick up a copy or two. Doing a little promotion for you here, Lori, but it's a fun little thing, and it's great for students, it's great for grandchildren, it's serves all kinds of positive gift kind of opportunities. It is a challenging time for presses across the university landscape, and I think it's a credit to ours that ours is robust, it's thriving, and in fact, about a year ago, Lori came to me and said that, I won't name it, but another university press came and said, will you take us on, because we're struggling. And we decided at that point in time that the business model wasn't quite right, and we said no, but I think it's a reflection of how incredibly strong and renowned this press is. So those are just some fun facts that I wanted to share with you that you may or may not know, depending on your connection. There are lots of events coming up that you can participate in this 100-year celebration, and several of them, or at least one of them, allows you to possibly win an iPad with every University of Illinois Press book on it. So, or many of them, I don't know, maybe not all of them, or you'll correct me, because I might be giving away the farm now. But there are many of them on there. Are you okay? Calm down, calm down. You can always blame me, but there are lots of books on there. 100 in honor of the 100th. Sorry, not all. I can see them just getting really anxious. Okay, well, it's time for me really to turn the mic over to the person that makes this all happen, and it's not just her, it's her whole team, and I know she's going to say that, but we all know that leaders are incredibly important in organizations like this, and I want to sing praises for Lori Matheson. She's an amazing director of this library, totally committed. Did you know that over the last 100 years there have only been 6 directors? Over 100 years. So I think that is a testament to the commitment of individuals across the lifespan of the press to this great institution, but it's quite a legacy for Lori as well. And Lori has been in different roles with the press since 1996. So she came in as, I think, a graduate student, is that right, Lori? And worked her way up into different positions in the press, and then eventually became the head of it. And that's, I think, a lovely succession story as well. So I've gotten to know her quite a bit. She's passionate, she's careful, she's thoughtful. We couldn't have a better ambassador for this amazing institution. So please join me in welcoming Lori Matheson.
Thank you all so much for being here. I just have a few remarks too. I want to thank Dr. Killeen and Dr. Johnson Killeen for hosting us in this beautiful home, and thanks to the President and Dr. Wilson also for their introductions and their support. And I also want to acknowledge support from the Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, the Office of the Provost, the U of I Library, U of I Archives, Illinois Program for Research in the Humanities, and the Center for Advanced Study, among other sponsors who have helped make our Centennial celebrations possible. I hope you'll visit our website. We have a complete list of events and sponsors there, and a lot of information about what's happening at the press. We've spent the past 18 months developing and presenting events on the history of our past 100 years. Many of you have played an integral part in that history as authors, editors, friends, staff members, faculty board members, and partners, and we salute you. The press is what it is today because of you. In 1918, at a moment of cataclysmic uncertainty, Edmund James and Harrison Cunningham took the leap of founding our press. I think it's worth asking why, with the world poised on a precipice of fascism, violence, and death, they chose that moment to establish a university press. I think they saw their leap as a response to the totalizing anti-democratic forces that seemed to be ascendant at the time. They saw the press as advancing the mission of the land-grant university to offer access to knowledge as a path to citizenship and cultural literacy. They envisioned the press as a vehicle for advancing the free circulation of ideas, ideas that would be honed through research and debate. They believed in the power of the printed word as a tool for democracy to thrive. As we embark on our second century, we reaffirm our commitment to investing in reliable, carefully vetted scholarship. We believe it provides a sure foundation for the pursuit of truth amid every wave of uncertainty, belligerence, and injustice. And what of the future? Here are some components of our vision for the next 100 years. We will continue to publish scholarship that leads the urgent conversations of our time, provides historical perspective and critical insight, and sustains our core commitment to social justice. We will be proactive and responsive to technological change and opportunity. We will establish the University of Illinois as the site of an annual publishing institute. Plans are underway now to partner with the Office of the Vice Chancellor for research on a one-day institute in 2019. We will advance partnerships on all 3 campuses of the university. We will provide a model of mentorship and collegiality to staff, faculty, and publishing colleagues. We will cultivate a diversity of staff to reflect the diversity of our list. We will model and share literacy in our community. We will develop opportunities in our publishing program to reflect the university's strengths. We will help the humanities and sciences speak to each other. We will increase our financial independence. We will invite our community of friends to join us in advancing our mission. In fact, This effort to build a sustaining community around the press and its mission is underway now. With tonight's event, we are rolling out our Friends of the Press program, which offers an opportunity for sustained giving and participation in the life and future of the press. We are also building funds to support specific publishing areas, and we're naming some of these after our distinguished colleagues. Bruno Nettle is one, Judy McCullough is another, Darlene Clark-Hine is another. So that's a way to honor those who have really made the press what it is. And we are actively seeking stakeholders and partners who believe in the work of the press. Tony Pomonis is here, our contact from the foundation. And Julie Loud, our outreach and development coordinator, is in the back. So many of you met her coming in. And Tony or Julie or I would love to talk with you if you're interested in exploring some of these opportunities. As we worked on plans for our Centennial celebration, we wanted to identify a slogan that would be appropriate to the press and its mission. After much discussion, we settled on the words of an Illinois poet, Gwendolyn Brooks. Born in 1917, Gwendolyn Brooks began publishing poetry in the Chicago Defender as a teenager. At the age of 23, she won the Pulitzer Prize, the first Black author to win this honor. Brooks published very successfully with the commercial publisher Harper & Row, but her activism and her interest in nurturing Black literature led her to leave that relationship in favor of fledgling Black publishing companies, including Broadside Press in Detroit and Third World Press in Chicago. Her books, and others brought out by Black publishers, were given scant attention by critics in the literary establishment. This is not disconnected from the persisting whiteness of the publishing industry today. At age 68, Brooks became the first Black woman to be appointed to the post of poetry consultant to the Library of Congress. In this role, and later as Poet Laureate of Illinois, she prioritized community outreach, visits to schools, prisons, hospitals, and drug rehabilitation centers. She also invested personally and professionally in the development of other writers and poets. For the press, the commitments and convictions of Gwendolyn Brooks resonate as we continue into our second century. In the coming 100 years, we pledge to publish work that historicizes and critiques bias and oppression in all its forms. Through our publications and activities, we will promote and celebrate the power of creative and intellectual work. We pledge to serve as a training ground for prospective publishing professionals and as a resource for scholars and students in our university and beyond. And we pledge to provide a platform for voices that have been relegated to the margins, and to live out this mandate, both in our publications and in our hiring, mentoring, promotion, and retention practices. To close, I'd like to share a poem that Gwendolyn Brooks wrote for National Children's Book Week in 1969. Book Power by Gwendolyn Brooks. Books feed and cure and chortle and collide in all this willful world of thud and thump and thunder. Man's relevance to books continues to declare. Books are meat and medicine and flame and flight and flower. Steel, stitch, and cloud and clout, and drum beats on the air. With the kind permission of the Brooks estate, we have featured the final portion of this wonderful poem on our Centennial book bags. We have one for each of our guests, packed with a few special gifts, including an invitation to become a founding member of our Friends of the Press program. Please take one of these book bags as you depart, and thank you again for coming tonight.